We're almost ready, so it's time to hand you over to our commentary team here at Old Trafford. The former Manchester City, Nottingham Forest and England defender Stuart Pearce is alongside Talksport's chief football commentator Sam Matterface.
Thanks, Resh. Welcome to Manchester, the heart of the Industrial Revolution, the transport trailblazer and the music centre of the world. Welcome to the 188th derby. Welcome to Old Trafford. And this stadium has become United's oasis. Unbeaten here since September, Erik ten Hag's team has thrived since giving Ronaldo the elbow. Now they want to prove that they have progressed from the team that looked like charlatans at the Etihad 3 months ago. Dismal, bemused, well beaten. But United have blossomed since. Have they got the verve, the know-how, the mental toughness, the processes to deal with a Manchester City team who are better than anything they have come across recently? Ten Hag will say yes, and Pep's men were slapdash at Saints, baffling for 45 minutes at the bridge. Is it tiredness? Is it fatigue? Are they losing focus? Well, definitely maybe. Guardiola, after all, demands everything. Here's the team news. Manchester United have De Gea in goal. Wan-Bissaka is their right back. Varane, Shaw, Malacia. Then Fred, Casemiro, Eriksen. Rashford and Fernandes flanking Martial. It's Ederson in goal for Manchester City with Walker, Akanji, Ake and Cancelo. Bernardo Silva, Rodri and Kevin De Bruyne in midfield with Mahrez and Foden flanking Haaland in attack. Listen to the atmosphere. The Premier League is the joy division, and wins in a Saturday derby game make happy Mondays. Defeats make you as melancholy as Morrissey. This is the Manchester derby. This is Talksport, where the elite meet. Our referee is Stuart Atwell. Our VAR is Michael Oliver. United in red shirts, white shorts and black socks. Manchester City, the away team, in light blue jerseys, white shorts and light blue socks. And we are ready, primed and off in the 188th Manchester derby with Stuart Pearce, the former Manchester City boss, in the commentary box. And for the last few years, this place has held little fear for Manchester City. Will it today?
I don't think there'll be any fear here, there's no doubt about that, but you've got two top sides. Well, certainly Manchester City are a top side. Manchester United have got to prove to everyone today that they can be at the top table with City now.
And immediately there's a whack for Anthony Martial over on the far side by the left touchline. Akanji going for a high ball, just made a back for Martial, who went over the top of him, ended up in a crumpled heap, gets back to his feet, and we're underway once again with Ederson deep inside his own half as a press from Manchester United applied by Bruno Fernandes down the right side. It's picked up by Cancelo, who steps forward down into the midfield area, skips past Eriksen, who trips in. It's going to be a free kick just short of the halfway line, and already it's started to spice up here at Old Trafford. Luke Shaw just said something to Stuart Atwell which he didn't quite like. I think it's his first ever Manchester derby for Stuart Atwell.
Yeah, I think he was just kicking the ball away actually. Luke Shaw had a little bit of a talking to, a little bit of back information there. Stuart lives just down the road from me actually.
Stuart Atwell?
Yeah, and his wife used to work with Carol at the FA, so a little bit of background for you.
Footballing family. Victory for Ten Hag today, and co would move them to within 1 point of Manchester City in second place and 6 points behind the leaders Arsenal, who follow up with the North London derby. And then they've got United next weekend. City will also be eyeing this as a pivotal weekend in the title race, because should they win and Arsenal lose, the gap will be down to 2 points. It could be a huge weekend in terms of the way that the league table looks at the end of Sunday night. Nathan Ake has the ball deep inside his own half. Sunshine's come out here at Old Trafford as the ball goes back on a chilly morning with the clouds circling overhead but the sun trying to peer through as Akanji strides down the right side of the Manchester City defence and plays a very loose ball behind Mahrez, goes straight out of play into the Sir Alex Ferguson stand over on the far side, and it's away for a Manchester United throw. 0-0.
Yeah. Just while we're on the subject, short break in play a little bit. Wonderful music intro, fella. Congratulations. No mention of the Buzzcocks, though, one of Manchester's finest.
Do you know what? I was trying so desperately to get
easy.
the Buzzcocks in. It wasn't easy. Ball clipped out towards the near side. Fernandes tries to flick it on, looks for Martial, doesn't reach him, and goes through via Nathan Ake all the way back to the goalkeeper. Forward it goes to Akanji once more. You would expect Manchester United's rich vein of form to be put to the test by Manchester City, who have beat them in each of the last 3 Manchester derbies by an aggregate score of 12-4. United have also lost more Premier League home fixtures against Manchester City than any other opponent. Here's Bernardo Silva getting down the left side into the area, a little tuck across into the path of Mahrez, but Malacia does well to dispossess him in the left full-back position, and Manchester United are able to bring it clear, and it's up towards Eriksen, who's going to get there ahead of 2 midfielders and a defender, and Akanji sort of dived in there and Eriksen nudged it beyond him, but Malacia couldn't keep up, and Walker went across and nudged the ball out of play, and it's away for a throw-in over on the far side. But those quick fast breaks are going to be important, I think, for Manchester United today.
They are. I think that's a real strength for their team. Couple of things straight away. Fernandes playing on this right hand side, having to do, you know, he's done more work in these early stages chasing Cancelo around, and he's almost having to play here. He's at his best, I think, when you don't know where he is. He's wandering across that back line. I'm not sure this position suits him, and if you look at City and think, where is the weakness, you would say it's probably the heart of this defence. Apart from that, right through certainly the attacking side of their team, very, very strong. So much live sports to come on Talksport over the course of the whole day, let alone just here in Manchester today. But Rotherham against Blackburn is live over on Talksport 2 as we speak, and Rotherham have taken the lead. They lead by a goal to nil. Talksport 2, easy to access if you just ask your smart speaker to play Talksport 2, or you can download our app, flick between the 2 stations. You can listen back to the start of the programme, you can listen back to some of yesterday's programmes and download some podcasts as well, as we bring you one of the best apps that you can download. I think it's absolutely cracking, especially the access to all the previous shows and the schedules. It's brilliant. Ball is out over on the far side, and Rodri has got it to Ake, who's lifted it in towards Kyle Walker. Poor ball infield to De Bruyne and cleared away by Casemiro. He didn't play in the first game because he wasn't up to speed, and it's interesting to see that he is involved today. He might be a vital cog in the Manchester United wheel. He was watching the Brentford game from Madrid, knowing that he was about to join Manchester United, and you may have thought that someone like Casemiro, with all that he has won, sat on that sofa, looked at that dismantling and said to his agent, I don't fancy that, can you turn it round for me? Actually, he sent his agent a message during that match and said, tell them I will sort this out. Well, that remains to be seen. The way City have started this game, they've done everything an away team would want to do. They've starved the home team of possession. They've stopped any momentum that the crowd have got going behind them, and as I say, look very comfortable. This isn't the team that played against Southampton in the week. No, certainly not. It's a much changed. 8 changes from the team that played Southampton in the week, and there's a little bit more verve and feeling about them as De Bruyne swivels past Fred and plays the ball into space on the edge of the area. Bernardo Silva out to Foden. He leaves it. It's picked up by Cancelo in a left wing position. Gets to the byline, produces a cross. It's a deep one towards the far post. Underneath it was Malacia. He's headed the ball away. Rashford's come back to help out, and he's smacked the ball over the halfway line. It's a foot race between Martial and Ake, which Ake is going to win, and he clears upfield. But Bruno Fernandes has won it back again. It's played through the middle. Martial lazily stays in an offside position, then brings the ball down. That would have been a perfect platform from which to build another counter-attack, but Martial just didn't get back on side. There's one thing not getting back on side, there's another thing letting the ball go for your teammate Eriksen that's made brilliant ground joining you. If he leaves the ball, Eriksen gets onto it, and then he can join second phase. Really poor from Anthony Martial, who scored 5 goals and contributed 2 assists in 12 games this season. Did score twice off the bench of the Etihad earlier in the campaign, but his performances have been mixed, to say
the least. Here is Cancelo for Manchester City. 0-0. We played just over 7 minutes live on Talksport at Old Trafford. The ball swung out towards the far side. The Manchester City right looking for Walker, away by Malacia, and then back by Walker down the throat of the goalkeeper, who will clear away.
When you look at the matchup at the front end of the team here, you've got Rashford up against Walker. If there's anyone that can probably deal with the pace of Rashford, it's certainly Walker. They're almost cancelling each other out, which is to the benefit of Manchester City. On this side of the pitch, I'm sure there'll be a frustration from Fernandes, who's doing a lot of defensive work, which isn't his game actually.
Casemiro wins the ball in midfield after another loose pass from City. Spread finds Fernandes. The triangles are sharp and short. Flicked on by Malacia as the ball switched out towards the left-hand side, and Rashford gets it back towards the Dutchman, and United get a little bit of possession. We play 7 minutes and 50 seconds live on Talksport, and it's Manchester United 0, Manchester City 0. Up to Eriksen, loses out to Walker, who's had to narrow off a little bit. He turns the ball up towards halfway. Manchester City get it clear to the halfway mark, and then Varane brings it forward, wearing a long sleeve shirt and gloves today, as is Casemiro. And Martial in the Manchester United ranks. Only Mahrez wearing gloves for Manchester City. It is a chilly day. I've gone for the old Michael Jackson look. I've got one glove on, one glove off.
So you have, I didn't notice that.
Here is Varane, back to his goalkeeper. De Gea through the middle, up to Martial, holds it well, plays it down through the centre circle, finds Fred, who sweeps it to the left. Rashford goes on the attack, runs at Walker. He looks to go on the outside, then chops infield, moves into the edge of the penalty area, and Martial tries to return it to him, can't find it. Malacia gets the rebound. It comes back to Malacia again. He tries to flick the ball into the centre, took a deflection off Riyad Mahrez, and an offside flag has stopped it from being a corner.
Yeah, I think it ended up being Malacia potentially on the offside. I thought he should have put the cross in first time out. He enabled Mahrez to get back and deal with the resulting secondary effort at a cross.
Remember, Everton-Southampton is live on Talksport at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Ian Danter and Perry Groves. Everton-Southampton, 3 o'clock. And remember, the board members of Everton have been warned not to attend the game for fear of their safety and threats to their security. And tonight, big bit of boxing for you. Talksport brings you exclusive radio commentary of KSI versus FaZe Temper live from Wembley Arena tonight, 9 p.m. this evening. Join us for that one. I think Jim White's going to that, is he? Jim White's doing that one. Looking forward to that. He's hosting it tonight, yeah. Very much looking forward to that on the radio tonight. I may well tune in as I'm heading down towards your neck of the woods, because it's dancing on ice tomorrow. Ball given away by Eriksen. Infield to Marcus Rashford. Picked up by Fernandes. Down the right side. Right-footed shot through the middle of the 6-yard box, but he dragged it, and it went 2 or 3 yards wide of the right-hand upright. But Manchester City guilty of giving the ball away. United pouncing quickly. Eriksen aware to spot the run down the right flank for Fernandes, who got in behind his compatriot Cancelo and probably should have hit the target.
Yeah, as I say, you give the ball away loosely. The strongest card, the ace card United have got, is this counter-attack threat, which we've seen very, very often, certainly over this year. And I don't think they're a real possession-based side, but certainly the counter-attack, they are lethal on. Yeah,
Manchester United's renaissance has been built on a solid defence and a United ethic, really. The great Eric Cantona was full of praise this week for Erik ten Hag's iron fist. He said, discipline, it's the base of everything, and they certainly build from the back. They're quite happy to be resolute, not necessarily a team that score bag full of goals, but back themselves to get one eventually, and they have had the best chance of the game so far. 11 minutes gone in the Manchester derby, and it's Manchester United 0, Manchester City 0, live on Talksport with Now Sports. And don't forget, with Now Sports you can stream all the Sky Sports action, like Brentford versus Bournemouth live today for $11.99, no contract. Search Now Sports. Ball is with Nathan Ake at the heart of the Manchester City defence, and it is an odd Manchester City defence, really, isn't it, when you look at it? Akanji and Ake. I don't think at the start of the season we were expecting those two to be the mainstays of the defence. They've had to step in because Diaz has got a hamstring injury. He's had problems this season. Laporte hasn't played too much because of an early season injury, and then just hasn't really got up to speed for Pep Guardiola. And John Stone's not available today.
No, as I say, they've got a few out, and vast majority of those in that back line, Sam.
And Rodri has stepped into that back four at times, and sometimes from his position as a central midfielder he will slip into a back three. Started in a back four for Luis Martinez Enrique at the World Cup when he was playing for Spain. Here is Akanji taking the ball over the halfway line. It's 0-0 on Talksport in the Manchester derby. Mahrez has just dropped into his own half. Manchester United have backed off him and allowed him to have the ball, not necessarily needing to press, just allowing them to play the ball around at the back. And Pep Guardiola is getting a little bit frustrated in a great big black duvet coat down in front of us, disappointed with the movement of those in front of the back four. And it's picked up by Akanji once again, and he goes all the way back to his goalkeeper. Interesting observers today. I can see Ruben Diaz sitting in the director's box away to our left. Gareth Southgate is here, so is Steve Holland, his assistant. Jane Seymour, the actress, she's in the director's box today. Andy Cole, the Manchester United great. Brandon Williams, who's not in the squad today, is sitting just alongside us as well. And Tom Kerridge, the celebrity chef, is here as well.
I'll tell you what, it's rock and roll football, mate.
Well, there's not much rock and roll from Manchester City in terms of creating chances so far. They've dominated possession, but being kept at arm's length at the moment by Manchester United, who've just got them on the halfway line here and keeping them very much away from the 18-yard box away to our left. It's picked up now, though, by Cancelo. Can he try and penetrate the Manchester United midfield? Eriksen communicating well with Fernandes, pointing, gesticulating, telling him where he wants him to go and press and harass. Rodri moves away from Fernandes, and De Bruyne then drifts out to the left wing position. He can cut anything open. He sends the ball into the box, but it's not a very accurate pass, and it's cleared away by Manchester United. And then Fernandes just smacks it over the top of the City defence, and Martial is scampering forward. He moves into the penalty area, cuts in on his right foot, releases Eriksen, might come through to Rashford, and Cancelo dives in at the last moment after it went just behind Eriksen and into the 6-yard box, and Rashford was lurking because they break at such rapid pace. They had numbers in there. Cancelo got it away.
Once again, United defending deep.
Rashford back to Fred on the left-hand side. Again, United on the attack, trying to get forward with Malacia. Malacia to Fred. Fred left side of the penalty area. He twirls away from Rodri, but manages to get back up despite a brief moment on the floor. The cross comes in by Martial. It's too close to Ederson, who comes and grabs that easily and will clear it away. 15 gone, goalless.
I'll tell you what's interesting to see. Casemiro has got himself around Silva in the main, and Fred's got himself around De Bruyne, almost man for man in there. They said, wherever you're going, we're going to follow you. The rest of the team stay in your slots and deal with whatever's there. But when you look, once again, there we go. De Bruyne's got the ball out wide. There's Fred tracking him out wide. Wherever De Bruyne goes, he's following. Same with Casemiro, and they're happy to lose shape in the centre of midfield, knowing full well that chances are no one will fill it from Manchester City. If it's Haaland, then one of the centre halves will go in with him.
Always going to be a tactical battle today, and I think Manchester United will run the clock down as well whenever they get the opportunity to do so. A goal kick away to our left-hand side. He's taking a bit of time because Luke Shaw has decided to take it. He had a word with De Gea before eventually De Gea cleared upfield. And Wout Weghorst is here, signed on loan from Burnley via Besiktas. He's got his two little girls sitting on his knee in the director's box watching this. He's got a very good goal scoring record in the Turkish Superliga, but this is a very different stage. He only scored 2 in 20 for Burnley last year, but they want him to add competition to Anthony Martial's position at the top of the pitch. There's not much money floating around because they spent 200 million during the course of the summer, and of course they're being taken over. You know, by the middle of February they expect the Merchant Bank reign to have all of the potential suitors to have put their bids in. So I think it's a stopgap signing before they look to go for the second phase of the rebuild in the summer. 17 gone. It's 0-0.
Yeah, it's intriguing watching. That is a real key area for City, that inside right, inside left position, De Bruyne and Silva's position. And as I say, both central midfield players for United, they said, I'm not really bothered about a positional play, I've just got to deal with a man.
One back by Malacia over on the far side, and then Fred has picked the ball up and played it infield. It's cut out by Bernardo Silva, who's got the better of Casemiro on this occasion, and then De Bruyne then breaks away down the left-hand side. Fred dives in though, the two 17s coming together. It's a brilliant tackle by the Brazilian. He's dispossessed De Bruyne and he's cleared away. And there has been a little bit of concern about De Bruyne's form, bearing in mind that he hasn't managed to score or assist over the course of the last 5 games, his worst run in 4 years, and he's being tracked by Fred in the opening stages of this game. 0-0 the score. Bernardo Silva now walking pace on halfway as Manchester United again just keep Manchester City at arm's length. But you know, you can keep them quiet for as long as you like. One moment they can produce a bit of magic and it's all over for you. Cancelo down the left-hand side, tries to play it into the centre. It's Rodri, picks it up edge of the D. Poor pass behind Mahrez, and it goes out of play and away for a throw in the left full-back position to Manchester United. It's still goalless. Yeah, that point on and that tackle that you mentioned there by Fred, really important that he does everything, because it's De Bruyne that will pull the strings eventually, potentially, that finds the pass or finds the finish, irrelevant to what form he's got going into this game. Still goalless. It is Talksport. And we haven't seen much of Erling Haaland so far. 27 goals in 23 games. His dad's got history here. Not just the infamous challenge in 2001, but actually Alfie Haaland scored for Forest in a 4-1 defeat here in 1996. Were you in the team that day? Probably, yes. In fact, definitely, yes. As I say, Alfie was a teammate of mine, and obviously when I took over as player manager there, and one of the players who'd done extremely well for me, actually. Well, nice man. His son Erling Braut Haaland is impossible to keep quiet for 90 minutes. He may well drift to the periphery, and you might think that you've nullified him, then he'll pop up and score a scorpion kick like he did against Dortmund. It's all over. He's incredibly dangerous, and Manchester United will be taking nothing for granted. Malacia has just gone wiring in on Mahrez. It's going to be a free kick just in from the touchline. Yeah, Mahrez there just went to ground. He had nowhere to go with the ball. Malacia should have been a little bit cuter and not give the referee any opportunity to give a free kick away there. But a little clumsy. So Diego Dallo is sitting 4 seats away to our left-hand side as well, having picked up that hamstring injury when we were here on Tuesday night for the Charlton game on Talksport. Ball is on the right. And Mahrez is trying to construct an attack, and that's a mistake by Malacia, who actually had a bit more time than he thought, and he's ended up hitting the ball behind and away for the first corner of the game. 0-0 on Talksport in the Championship over on Talksport 2, Rotherham 1, Blackburn Rovers 0. Remember, Talksport Breakfast is back on Monday morning with Laura Woods and Rangers legend Ali McCoist. 6 a.m. they'll reflect on the Manchester derby and the North London derby as well, because it's a big derby weekend. I reckon they'll probably reflect on the East Midlands derby too. Arsenal legend Lee Dixon on the show, and they'll speak to former Manchester United coach Rene Moulenstein as well. Corner on the far side for Manchester City, in front of the Stretford end, away to our left, in towards the near post looking for Ake, headed away by Casemiro. Good strong firm header from the Brazilian. It's out towards the halfway line. Walker gets it, plays it infield to Foden. Foden back to De Bruyne. From away out deep, he attempts a cross into the box, which is blocked by the first man, Bruno Fernandes. It's headed away by Fred, but straight back to De Bruyne, and Manchester City have it once again. 20 minutes gone in the Manchester derby, and it's goalless on Talksport. And that Southampton game was the first time in 275 matches that Manchester City hadn't registered a shot on target. I mean, no wonder he was so irate yesterday, bearing in mind that they limped out of the Carabao Cup, a cup that they used to dominate so much, without even managing a shot on the Saints' goal. It was an odd performance, wasn't it? Yeah, it certainly was. Lacklustre, I thought, in the second half. And I don't think we can take anything away from Southampton. They'd done a bit of a number on them, and credit to them for it. And Pep was very animated on the touchline, and he has been here a little bit on occasion. I think he wants the ball switched a little bit quicker to isolate the fullbacks for United. Yeah, he's standing down in front of us on the technical area as his team come up towards the halfway line again. They have been pretty much spending most of their time just on that halfway line, passing it amongst themselves, but they've progressed forward now with Cancelo into the left side of the area. Foden trying to reverse ball, which is blocked by Rafael Varane, and the World Cup finalist just leaves that because he knows that there's an offside flag up against Foden, and it's going to be a free kick to Manchester United away to our left-hand side. And United have been pretty good defensively. I mentioned that they conceded just 4 league goals at home all season, the lowest tally of any club in the Premier League. They haven't lost at home in the top flight since they lost to Brighton on the opening day of the campaign.
I'm just moving on from that statement. Just looking now, Rashford's changed sides. We're talking about maybe that match-up between Walker probably doesn't suit him. Walker can match him for pace. I don't know whether they've done it short-term or not, but him and Fernandes have swapped over, and he's up against Cancelo now, who you would think is more of a mismatch, if you like.
Well, Rashford has been a key contributor to the upturn in form for Manchester United. Prior to the World Cup break, Rashford was averaging a goal contribution, a goal or an assist every 129.5 minutes for United. In the month since returning from Qatar, his average is a goal every 47.3 minutes. He really has upped the output over the course of the last month or so. Here is Walker for Manchester City, approaching the halfway line. He plays it in from the right side into the centre circle. Haaland links the play and sends it wide out to the right for Mahrez, who progresses upfield towards the United penalty area. Comes infield to Rodri. Bernardo Silva then produces a cross from the left side. Comes to Haaland inside the box, gets it onto his left foot, shoots. Three players dive in to try and block it. They do that successfully. And then Casemiro draws a foul from Mahrez on the edge of the area. Just a glimpse there, a moment for Erling Haaland just to get the ball down inside the area, just shift it onto his left foot. He did that successfully. Fred was there throwing his body on the line.
Yeah, certainly good defensive work by United there. As soon as he gets it, you could see the alarm bells ringing in United's backline, and 2-3 players attempting to get to him as quick as possible. Not sure what more he could have done. Maybe open his foot out a little bit and look to curl in the far post. He's gone for power and a good block eventually, and it was Casemiro actually got the eventual block.
Wan-Bissaka on halfway. Round the back of the defence is the ball from Casemiro, bending it behind Akanji, and the back pass from Akanji goes straight to Ederson, and I'm not entirely sure that you're allowed to do that.
Well, I don't think that was it. Why the crowd have got on their feet is they're barracking Martial for not chasing it down. It was bouncing up in and around the goalkeeper's midriff, albeit he's fantastic with his feet, but you've got to chase that down for me.
It's currently Manchester United 0, Manchester City 0. Here is Kevin De Bruyne trying to slice open the Manchester City defence with a ball which goes right behind Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but yields a flag from Darren Can, the assistant over on the far side. Let me give you the latest odds from Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Manchester United to win at 13-5, Manchester City to win at 23-20, or back the draw at 2-1. It's all thanks to Betfair, 18+, BeGambleAware.org.
I tell you what, really poor play there, I've got to say, by Foden, looking right across the line. Brilliant ball by De Bruyne. And the frustration on Pep there when he sees his player running offside. He's got to hold his run.
Ball played out towards the left-hand side by De Gea, who was under pressure. Malacia kept it in. Mahrez went across and put him under further pressure. It's only half cleared into Fred. Fred up towards Eriksen. They're playing their way out of trouble well here. Manchester United, they've linked right up towards the halfway line. Martial back, it's tucked into Casemiro. Rashford, a cross-field pass. It's going towards Eriksen. Oh, and then Fernandes didn't realise it was coming behind him, and he acrobatically tried to keep hold of it. He couldn't do so. And it flicks behind and away for a goal kick out on our right-hand side. But out of the two teams so far, Manchester United have looked as if they've had the more threat, despite the fact that they've only had 30% of the possession. Yeah, it's typical. One team, a possession-based team, are looking to play through and have not opened up. Maybe Haaland's shot you would put down as a quarter chance. But United are very slick on the turnover. They play through the thirds really quickly, and they go straight for you when they get possession of the ball. It's Manchester City, though, who are coming forward here, with Walker playing a brilliant ball into Kevin De Bruyne, who then sends it back out to the right. Mahrez now moving into the penalty area, down by the byline. His cross is deflected away by Fred, who's there again. He seems to be everywhere today. And it bounces out for a throw-in over on the far side to Manchester City. 0-0 the score. And we played just over 26 minutes on Talksport. Here's Stuart Pearce. It's situations like we've just seen there. City play through, really good play playing through the thirds, but they got 3-on-3 on the edge of the box and no shot on target come from it. Really disappointing. Here is Rodri at the heart, the base of the Manchester City midfield. Dropped 8 points from the last 8 Premier League games, Manchester City. That's why Pep Guardiola is not in the finest of fettle. Ake out on the left. Erik ten Hag has taken his seat back in the dugout, but Pep's still standing right on the edge of that technical area. that chalked triangle down in front of us here. We're in the Sir Bobby Charlton stand, the south stand, about 30-40 rows from the front, just right of the halfway line, watching proceedings as Kevin De Bruyne tries to pick a pass in behind Tyrell Malacia. Malacia stood firm on that occasion, and it doesn't find Walker. It goes out for a throw-in on halfway. Wind is howling around inside this stadium. Not as bad as it was on Tuesday night when Charlton came here. I thought Niagara Falls had been imported to M16 because it was lashing it down all night. The rain stopped early today, but the wind is still here. It's a perfect day for football, though, and a perfect day for a Manchester derby.
And as you say, I think from United's point of view, as long as they feel as though they can nullify the De Bruyne effect in that midfield there, they do look a threat on the counter-attack. You can tell as soon as they turn it over, everyone seems in sync for United about what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, that's definitely something that Erik ten Hag has worked on, making them a proper group, a cohesive unit, and they've done that brilliantly, brick by brick, over the course of the season. Benny McCarthy, the strikers coach, the assistant Steve McLaren, and the other Dutch members of the staff recognised immediately that there was a lack of that when he first walked into the building. It's not the case now. Eriksen, after United picked the ball up and played it forward at pace, Eriksen then plays the ball down the right channel looking for Rashford. It's too heavy and drifts in between both Akanji and Ake, but it's that sort of ball, that sort of moment. If they can get one of those right, they'll be in.
In all honesty, I think they got it right, but you've got to give credit for Cancelo there, who actually blocked the run of Rashford, done brilliantly well blocking the run. If it wasn't for that, well, it would have been a foot race.
Pep Guardiola's just picked the ball up, tucked it into his body and stopped Marcus Rashford from taking it off him, so that Manchester City could convince Stuart Atwell that it was a Manchester City throw. Getting a little bit spicy on the touchline as well. Erik ten Hag wasn't too happy about that. Goes back to Ake, the left side of the box, gives it to Ederson, who kicks the ball clear over the back of the United defence. And Stuart was observing earlier, actually, in the warm-up when Stefan Ortega was part of the group that was warming up Ederson, that they are such a different side when Ederson doesn't play in goal, because he has that ability to telegraph a beautiful laser pinpoint pass over the top of a defence to run in behind.
He is, he's a real threat, and as I say, I know, you know, putting teams up against City in the past, you're so fearful of that ball over the top. He's only well, in fact, today's one just then was the first one he's hit long. It was more of a clearance than a pass, and all of a sudden Mahrez for one moment thought he might just get him behind the back line. Yeah,
I thought that it was actually closer to that than I think even David De Gea thought. Here's Fernandes over on the far side, getting it back to Fred, and then all the way back to David De Gea away to our left-hand side. He plays out towards Wan-Bissaka, who's in for the injured Diego Dallo. He's played quite well, actually, over the course of the 4 games he started straight after the international break. Bit of a sloppy pass from Varane, but he's given it back to his goalkeeper at the second attempt, and it's cleared away by De Gea to halfway. Wan-Bissaka nudges it beautifully into Eriksen. Eriksen now onto Martial. There's space out wide on the left for Malacia. Fernandes hasn't spotted him yet, and then when he did realise that he was there, he played a terrible ball. There's a kick out there by Walker off the ball on Tyrell Malacia. Malacia's gone down. The referee hasn't seen it. Now he's stopped the game. And that was a very poor little kick out by Walker. Just had a little flick over in the far corner on Tyrell Malacia, and that's going to be a free kick. Well, maybe not a free kick, actually, because I don't know he's actually given the foul, but he's definitely going to stop to see if Tyrell Malacia is going to be okay. It should have been a free kick.
Yeah, I think what's happened there is Walker's won the ball. He's pushed it past Malacia. Malacia's blocked him, impeded him, and whilst the frustration of Walker, just a little niggle out there. I'd have done exactly the same if I was Walker, to be fair. Run over the top of the player.
I think you probably would have done it a little bit harder.
Well, probably not. But he's ended up falling on the floor and just, I think, banging his head and jarring his head eventually.
No, he's just getting some treatment over on the far side, an opportunity to take on a drink for these Manchester United and Manchester City players after the opening to the game. It's still 0-0, but Manchester United have probably had the better of the opportunities. The scores: Manchester United 0, City 0 on Talksport with Car Finance. Search Car Finance 24/7 today. Coming up a little bit later on, after Game Day exclusive has finished on Talksport, Adrian Durham takes you round the grounds and brings you all the goals as they go in from across the Premier League, EFL and National League. Everton Southampton's on Talksport 2. Jason Cundy and Gabriel Bonlahor open the Game Day phone-in, where you can have your say on national radio tonight at 5:30. And then later on, we've got the boxing. KSI against FaZe Temper is on Talksport. And I mentioned Jim White earlier, who's on the boxing. Be sure to catch him and Simon Jordan every Monday to Friday, 10 till 1. I heard Simon and you have a bit of a spar yesterday. You dared to sit in his chair. I know you did that on purpose, just to rile him up, just to unsettle him just before the show.
Samuel, I had no idea it was his chair. It didn't have his name on the back.
You grilled him a little bit yesterday as well, didn't you? In a very nice fashion, I thought.
Well, he did make the statement about none of his managers were good enough to manage in the Premier League at Palace. And I just asked the question, as everyone was thinking it, no one asked it, and I thought, well, maybe you weren't good enough as a chairman, Mr. Chairman.
Fernandes sends the ball over the top. Goalkeeper's come miles out of his goal, and Rashford's gone round him. There's an open goal. Rashford can't find it. Comes back on the edge of the area for Eriksen, and then wide to Wan-Bissaka. He's back in his goal now, Ederson, as Casemiro flicks it forward. Martial gets a header in. It loops off the top of the defender and goes into the air, and it's grabbed by Ederson. And they got away with one there, Manchester City, and Ederson in particular.
Once again, City playing the football, playing the possession, but as soon as it got turned over once again, all they're looking for is the ball in behind. And when Ederson come off his line, he was never in a million years going to get there, and you thought the only thing that's going to happen here is a red card. And he was that slow coming off his line, he didn't even get to Rashford in time to foul him.
Well, Marcus Rashford's goals against Charlton saw him become the first United player since Wayne Rooney in March 2010 to score in 8 consecutive home appearances. He is a threat from that left-hand side. He has that speed and he has the ability, and he went rounding Ederson there, but I think he just took it a little bit too wide, didn't he? The angle sort of narrowed off for him. It was a bit difficult for him to try and squeeze that in from that angle, and City did, in fairness, get players back behind the ball and on the line. Ake in particular got back right into the goal. Yeah, and I've no idea what Ederson was doing. He really come out too far. It's fortunate it did go wide, like you mentioned. I'll tell you what I would do if I was City. I would get De Bruyne out of that slot that is occupied by Fred and get him on this side of the pitch around Casemiro, because I think he's got the ability to run away from Casemiro. I think Fred's enjoying his work getting in and around De Bruyne. Header away by Rafael Varane, who has defended that situation well. De Bruyne's picked it up right side, in towards the far post, looking for Foden. It's looped into the air under pressure from Wan-Bissaka and grabbed by David De Gea. Good ball in though by Kevin De Bruyne. Just got free for the first time in the game, got away from Fred, had some space to deliver a ball into the box. It was perfectly weighted. I think Foden maybe a little bit unsighted by the pressure from Wan-Bissaka, couldn't get a clean header on the ball. Manchester United bring it over the halfway line again. Martial from Eriksen, then back to the centre circle. Casemiro trying to lift it over the top. That's Cancelo's ball, and it's away by Manchester City to the halfway line. Still goalless, still waiting for our first strike in the game. Manchester United have had some opportunities on the break. City have had a lot of the ball, but haven't carved open the Manchester United defence, which is difficult to break down. The only goal that they've conceded recently is that goal that De Gea allowed squirming through his legs in the FA Cup tie against Everton, as the ball goes into the box and it's dealt with by Tyrell Malacia rather well, and it goes back to David De Gea again. Yeah, that situation just earlier there, De Bruyne getting on the ball. Fred decided to leave De Bruyne and go and press Rodri, and I think he's almost got to say leave the rest of the game alone and just keep in and around De Bruyne, because he's the one who'll eventually really hurt you with that pass. Foden chests the ball down for Manchester City, guides it back to Cancelo with the outside of his right boot, tries to pop it into the left channel for Foden to chase. Varane alert to the danger, wary of Foden's presence, just steps out into that right channel, mops up for Manchester United, and then elegantly the ball is cleared up towards halfway. Fred has it, plays it infield. Lovely reverse pass into Ericsson, who waits the ball beautifully to Rashford, who's running down the left channel. He's in on goal, out comes Ederson very quickly, slipping across the turf to stop Rashford from being able to get the shot away. I think his second touch, Rashford, was just a little bit too heavy.
It was, but the threat once again, they've got players in their midfield. Ericsson, they know the weight of the pass, they know when to play it, they know how to play it early. Fernandes as well. And at this moment in time, Sam, if anything, you would say it's going to take one team and one more chance in behind to break the deadlock, and it's going to be United who score. And there's a frustration with the fans. Martial, he's got to understand that he's got to go chasing lost causes on occasion. He's ambling across here, giving Aki all the time in the world.
I'm not sure he's 100% fit, but I'm not sure he's ever 100% fit, Anthony Martial. And he's just tugging on his groin there. But you're right, he is a frustrating figure.
It's personality. That's what you want, personality on the pitch, and I think that's what he lacks a little bit from a footballing prospect.
De Bruyne getting to the byline, producing a cross which goes straight to the gloves of De Gea. An easy catch for him, and it'll be cleared away. It's 0-0, and Manchester United, who have been a real threat on the counter-attack, we said it right at the beginning of the game, those quick, fast breaks are going to be all important, and they have been so far, but they haven't made anything count just yet. And they've given Pep Guardiola enough warnings for him to make changes. And I was watching the game last Thursday night when they went to Stamford Bridge, and they sort of ambled through that first half and didn't look particularly bright, and Chelsea had a couple of good opportunities. They came out in the second half, made a few adjustments, and all of a sudden they were in control of the game. Yeah,
I'm just looking at Rashford there. He's just gone in for a challenge with Walker, but just holding his groin a little bit tight there. They don't want to lose him because he is... Well, he has been the key one. We talk about movement in behind, runs in behind, counter-attack threat. It is him more so than Martial, and it certainly can't be Fernandes because he's the supplier.
Yep. Well, Ederson's made a misjudgment and then a really good dart off his line to stop Rashford from scoring in this game so far. And we've got 6 minutes before the break in the Manchester derby. Live on Talksport, live and exclusive to Talksport. Thank you very much for lending us your ears today. We appreciate it. Wherever you are, listening to Talksport on this chilly Mancunian lunchtime. Riyad Mahrez has the ball for the away side, and he's given it away so cheaply as he moves up towards the edge of the area, so casually, just nudging the ball infield, expecting someone to take it off him. They didn't. Here's Fred, moving up through the gears, poking out to the far side. Akanji gets it half clear. Casemiro's ball forward was poor, and it's back with Rodri in the centre of midfield. Casemiro was going to take him as a prisoner there and try to trap him in between his legs. But you're right about Marcus Rashford. There is an issue here, and it's a big one. He's dropped to his knees over on the far side. He is not feeling great. Can he get to half-time? Foden at the other end, trying to play in. Mahrez is giving it to Ericsson, and Ericsson has found Martial. Martial is reluctant to play it over the top because he's not sure that Rashford can make the foot race. Rashford now trying to race with Akanji over on the left-hand side. Oh, he's pulled up. He's pulled up. He's pulled up. It's not going to happen. He's gone. And unfortunately, we're going to lose Marcus Rashford in this game. And after 8 straight home games in which he has scored, this one is going to come to a premature end.
I'll tell you what, there'll be one man who's absolutely delighted about that. He's called Pep Guardiola. He would probably be one of the main reasons why United could get a result here today, and they've certainly shown that. And as soon as he went in, literally they went sort of hip to hip together, you know, clashed, and from that moment on I saw him sort of just be very tentative, and as you say, when he opened up there, that was it. That was his lot.
So what do you do now if you're Erik ten Hag? And I'm sure that would be disappointing for Gareth Southgate and Steve Holland, who are watching on, keeping an eye on Marcus Rashford's progress too. What do you do now? Do you go Alejandro Garnacho, like-for-like replacement, speed and guile on that left-hand side?
Yes, basically. Because the tactic they're employing at the moment has been absolutely... we're just looking at the situation now. He's just come in behind Walker. A little bit of a clash, and then from that moment on, whether he'll be able to come back on, I'm I'll be very surprised if he can, but who knows.
Well, he's getting treatment. He's been spoken to by the physios, and he looks to me as if he's going to try and come back on. But I think that would be worrying, really, especially bearing in mind the way he pulled up as he went down the left-hand side, chasing with Akanji and Walker just moments ago. But he's going to give it a go. Maybe he's going to try and get to half-time. There's only 3 and a bit minutes to go before the break. Manchester United, who have been the most likely to open the scoring, have not done so far. It's still goalless, and they do not want to lose Marcus Rashford. That would be a major hammer blow to them. Anthony also is another option for them. He's warming up away to our left. Here is João Cancelo. Back in field it goes to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva across to Rodri, and then it was on to Akanji. Akanji back out wide, where it's picked up to Walker. Walker back in field. A couple of steps forward by Akanji into Bernardo Silva, and then swept out towards the near touchline by Ake, and now collected by Cancelo. Cancelo infield to Bernardo Silva. Manchester United again just keeping Manchester City on the halfway line. The Manchester City fans away to our right in the corner of the south stand and the scoreboard end, just a little bit quieter than maybe they would be on a usual occasion. They've just been slightly frustrated, I think, by their team's lack of penetration in the game. They haven't really got going just yet, and there's still a long way to go in this Manchester derby.
There is, as I say, I don't know whether players actually realise, if Rashford's injured and he's, you know, he looks as though he's looking after himself at the moment, you put pressure on him, you run off him as a fullback, you say, come on then, let's see how injured you are. And I don't think they're doing that.
Foden plays it in field to Cancelo, back out to the left. De Bruyne tries to push it beyond Fred and into Bernardo Silva, who's being tracked. He almost tripped himself up there, Bernardo Silva. The ball goes wide to the left, Foden. Silva gets himself back on his feet, comes back to Cancelo. Cancelo in field to Rodri. Rodri square ball, Akanji. They switch the play to the right now, and it's with Tyrell Malacia, who goes over and shuts down Walker, and they have to go back to the halfway line again. Manchester City. Rashford's not doing anything. He's not affecting the game in any way, shape or form over on that left-hand side. He's little shuttle runs between the midpoint of the half and the left-hand side, but he's not affecting the game as Cancelo comes forward, down the left, into De Bruyne, left-footed ball into the near post, away by Varane, comes out as far as Foden, who's on the edge of the box left side. Now Cancelo onto Rodri. Rodri looks up, a run by Walker wasn't spotted quick enough. He goes back in field towards Mahrez, who tries to trick his way past the red shirt. The referee says play on, despite the fact that he felt initially that he'd been fouled and Rashford's got it, but Rashford's going to have to shoot it on for somebody else to chase, and Malacia is going to be that man, but he couldn't keep it in. And again, the ball's just gone drifting out of play, and Rashford does not look as if he's able to continue, but I think they're just going to make a decision on this at half-time. Yeah, he's run his race, and to be fair, City should take advantage of this. You know, keep getting the ball out to that right-hand side and keep chasing him and make him work backwards. Well, United's only defeat in the last 18 games was the 3-1 loss at Villa the day after Bonfire Night. They don't score bagfuls of goals, but they usually do score goals. They've scored in 20 of the last 21 matches in all competition, the only exception being that Newcastle United game here in October, which finished 0-0. Manchester City are adept at scoring goals too. The top scorers in the Premier League have the ball down the left-hand side. Rodri takes it on, plays it back in field. It's with Walker, who's got a chance to shoot from 30 yards, and he does that. And David De Gea goes sprawling to his left, but it was always veering away from the left-hand upright.
Yeah, much better from Walker there. Detached himself, come inside. Rashford not tracking him back at all. I don't think physically he can.
And there is the half-time whistle. Well, ever since Mario Balotelli posed the immortal question, why always me? Manchester City have loved Derby Day. Maybe not today. Manchester United have only conceded once since the restart, and they are holding firm here. They've hardly had to deal with too many shots from the visitors. The big issue they've got is that their talisman Marcus Rashford appears to be in a situation where he cannot continue. At the break, Manchester United 0, Manchester City 0.
Sam Massaface, thank you very much. Yeah, the players are heading back to the dressing room. Some of the fans are spilling out for a half-time beverage or something similar. Stuart Pearce, I mean, we talked about it pre-match, didn't we? I mean, I know Marcus Rashford is the big headline going into this. He does look like he's struggling. Even as he's walking, there's one leg that's a little bit jammed or straight as he's trying to head back down to the tunnel. But for Manchester United, that extra man in midfield, it feels as though that tactic has been working up until now. Kevin De Bruyne, the likes of, have been very quiet so far. Yeah,
it's been twofold. As I say, Fred's done a brilliant job, as good a job as he can on De Bruyne. Casemiro on the other side on Silva. They've just followed them everywhere. Now, City have got to find a way of getting De Bruyne away from Fred, I think, to free him up a little bit. Fred enjoys this sort of work, nullifying people. And as soon as they've turned the ball over, it's gone straight in behind City's back line, and they've been a real threat. The big problem they got now, I'll be absolutely astounded if Rashford starts the second half. They've got to dip to the bench and hopefully get someone like for like that wants to run in behind.
Yeah, that is a huge problem, isn't it? Marcus Rashford in fantastic goal-scoring form, 15 goals so far this season, scoring in consecutive matches at home as well. That's a huge concern. As I mean, you were saying in commentary, Garnacho seems to be the most likely choice, but of course that remains to be seen at the moment. Manchester United working really hard off the ball as well. Only 32% possession against his Manchester City side. I suppose it's expected given the way that City play, but as you say, so quick on the transition. They have been looking dangerous.
They're absolutely lightning on transition. Everything's a forward pass, everything's a receive and then get turned, and they know full well they're going to supply that ball, and they've got technicians to supply it. You're looking at Eriksen's weight of pass and timing of pass, magnificent. Fernandes, once again, exactly the same, and they keep that ball rotating forward, and the runs have been very good and very intelligent.
Yeah, it should be a very interesting next 45 minutes here at Old Trafford. It is still goalless in the Manchester derby. We'll be checking in with Perry Groves at Goodison Park as well for Everton against Southampton very shortly. This is Game Day exclusive on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today.
Game Day exclusive on Talksport with Now Sports. Stream all the Sky Sports action like Brentford versus Bournemouth live today for $11.99. No contract. Search Now Sports 18+. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of June 2022 and 30th of September 2022 is under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
What does Asahi Super Dry taste like? Crisp, refreshing and always super dry. A taste as unexpected and surprising as modern Japan. That's right, Japan's #1 beer. Asahi Super Dry, beyond expected. Go to asahisuperdry.com to verify. Enjoy responsibly. Visit drinkaware.co.uk to find out more.
For insightful analysis of every kick and every goal from the weekend's Premier League action, get The Game from The Times on Monday. Subscribe today at thetimes.co.uk/football for provocative and compelling opinions from highly respectable writers, including Tony Cascarino, Ian Hawkey, and the voice of football, Henry Winter. Try it free for 1 month at thetimes.co.uk/football or pick up the free supplement in The Times on Monday.
Lovely bit of football!
Auto renews at £26 a month unless cancelled. T's and C's apply.
This football season, get a hand from Betfair's popular Bet Builder and easily add our fan favourite football selections to your bet slip in just one tap. Spend less time finger faffing and place your bet the easy way. Now that's handy. Betfair.
Exclusive to Betfair Sportsbook. Terms and conditions apply. Please see frequently asked questions on support.betfair.com. 18+ BeGambleAware.org.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
At Selco Builders Warehouse, we've got real deals on a wide range of trade quality building products. This month, we've got 20% off the trade price of all Rapid Plus self-assembly kitchen units. Now that's a real deal. Find even more real deals at Selco Builders Warehouse and online at selcobw.com.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade go.
That charged at 20%.
And he's barrelled it straight through the midfield into the Village Hotel Pub and Grill Fan Zone, the home of big screen live football. A long volley over the stadium seats by the giant screens into the left-hand corner of the bar, past a winning lineup of ice-cold beers and a magnificent menu of mouth-watering footy food. Result! Enjoy the perfect big match experience with food, drink and live football at a Village Hotel Pub and Grill Fan Zone at 33 UK locations. Find your nearest venue and win monthly prizes, including match tickets at villagehotels.com/fanzone. Get in! Conditions apply. 18 plus, always drink responsibly. Hello, my friend. Life comes at you fast, so make time for you time with Just Eat. For early times, lunch times, late times, strange times. The perfect times for the McDonald's Sausage and Egg McMuffin, Five Guys Cheeseburger and Strawberry Shake, Domino's Pepperoni Passion, plus more from Costa Coffee, Creams Cafe and Pizza Express. So order now, later, in a bit, whenever. We got it.
Did somebody say Just Eat?
Product subject to availability in restaurant and serving times. Participating stores only. See justeat.co.uk for details.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Get your finance sorted first, then choose your car. Search Car Finance 24/7 today.
Game day. Pushing the apex of live football.
Right foot shot, brilliant goal!
The biggest and best football on the radio. Game day exclusive
on Talksport.
Hello there, you are listening to Game Day Exclusive live on Talksport with me, Reshmin Chowdhury. We are at Old Trafford for the Manchester Derby. What a meaty proposition this was going into it. And at half-time, it's Manchester United 0, Manchester City 0. Let's get the latest odds from Betfair, shall we? The official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage.
Game day on Talksport with Betfair. Get a hand from Betfair's popular bet builder and easily add our fan favourite football selections to your bet slip. Terms and conditions apply. See support.betfair.com. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Good afternoon, Sam Rothwasham from Betfair. So far, so good for Erik ten Hag and his plans and his tactical nous and the changes that he made going into this one. But of course, there's a prospect of Marcus Rashford not being on the pitch in the second half. Does that change the odds for the second half somewhat?
Well, looking at the odds currently over on the Sportsbook, Manchester City are still favoured over United to win this one. Currently 23-20 for Pep Guardiola's side to get the 3 points. United 15-4. They have had the better chances in that first half, just not quite got them in the back of the net, have they? The draw 6-4 now, and I can tell you that 0-0 is the most popular goal score line with the punters. That's currently 11-4. However, we don't want it to be 0-0, do we? They also have been backing United to win 2-1. That's been the second most popular scoreline selection, currently 22-1.
Yeah, I suppose we don't want 0-0 given Sam Matterface's charity bet. He's gone for lots of goals, hasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly has. So we're raising money for the Bobby Moore Fund with Sam Matterface's bet builder. He's gone for over 3.5 goals in the game. Rashford to score any time, Haaland to score any time. Hopefully Rashford is okay and we get to see him in the second half, but we do need goals as well. We have backed that at around 17-2, so our £50 charity stake will return £473 if all three land. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. How are your nerves then, Sam?
Yeah, kind of. I'm not feeling too comfortable, to be honest with you. But listen, I think there's a lot more to come, isn't there, from this Manchester City side? And I just feel like we're on the bit of a knife edge of this game at the minute.
Yeah.
Needs something to happen for it to explode, doesn't it?
Yeah, I feel like something might happen in that second half. Don't worry, this will be me tomorrow watching Spurs and Arsenal. I know exactly how you feel. Sam Rothwasham, thank you very much, as always. That odds update is all thanks to Betfair. Returns accurate as of 10 minutes ago. For verification, see betfair.com. Over 18s only. Conditions apply. Go to begambleaware.org.
Game day on Talksport with Betfair. Get a hand from Betfair's popular bet builder and easily add our fan favourite football selections to your bet slip. Terms and conditions apply. See support.betfair.com. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Well, over on Talksport 2 right now, it is Rotherham 1, Blackburn 0 in the Championship. And in the WSL, it's Aston Villa 2, Tottenham 1, although record signing Beth England has scored on her debut for Spurs, but it was Rachel Daly and Kenza Dali's goals that have the home side in front. OK, right now we're going to take a look ahead to this evening's Premier League action with Now Sports.
Stay ahead of the game on Talksport with Now Sports. Stream all the Sky Sports action like Brentford versus Bournemouth live today for $11.99. No contract. Search Now Sports 18 plus. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
Okay, this evening it is Brentford taking on Bournemouth. We've seen Brentford beat City, they've beaten Liverpool, they're organised, they're efficient, they're at home, and Ivan Toney is back. Stuart Pearce, does that all point towards a potentially inevitable Brentford win against a Bournemouth side that's really struggling?
I think so. Brentford are playing really well at the moment, very well organised, slick team, and Ivan Toney is, well, he's a handful, you know.
Even or Ivan?
I change from week to week.
Potato.
Exactly that, you know what I mean? Listen, they play it up to him. He either gets it down and he gets turned and play, or alternatively he flicks it on for runners in behind. They've got a real solid way of playing, and yeah, as I say, a real threat. I think they'll win the game. Yeah,
and for Bournemouth, look, they lost 7 of their last 8 Premier League games. That's after, you know, a really mazy run under Gary O'Neill, where they won the, you know, unbeaten in the first 6. But it's just all gone downhill, hasn't it, Stu?
Well, I think we always knew it was going to be a tough ask for Bournemouth. I would say they'll be one of the teams that I think will end up getting relegated. I do, you know, but I think he's done a reasonable job at the football club, and obviously I wish him well.
We certainly do wish them well. It'll be an interesting one, that Brentford take on Bournemouth this evening.
Stay ahead of the game on Talksport with Now Sports. Stream all the Sky Sports action like Brentford versus Bournemouth live today for $11.99. No contract. Search Now Sports 18+. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
Yeah, Jamie O'Hara and Gabby Bunhill will be taking all your calls from 5:30 this evening live on Talksport. That's before anyone else on national radio, and they will be keeping you across all the goings on at the G-Tech Arena. Okay. Later on, well, it's not that later on, it's 3 p.m. kickoff for you over on live on Talksport 2. Perry Groves, the former Arsenal winger, will be at Goodison Park for Everton against Southampton. I believe you're there, Perry. Hello,
Rashmin, how are you?
Hello, mate. Yeah, I'm very well. We won't talk about tomorrow just yet. We're going to talk about this one. Huge game at the bottom. It's 18th against 20th, just 3 points between them. Frank Lampard, look, has had the public backing of Fahad Moshiri, and Moshiri did that live on Talksport when he spoke to Jim White earlier in the week. But we saw that breaking news earlier on that Everton's board of directors, they've been instructed not to attend today's Premier League game with Southampton due to a real and credible threat to their safety and security. That's come in the form of a club statement. It sounds serious. What is the atmosphere like there? At the moment, I know it's early on and you know it's probably still building up, but what are you expecting there? Because of course there will be that fan sort of sit-in protest after the game.
Yeah, I just think it's really sad, Reshman, don't you, that a club that titles itself as the People's Club, it's quite ironic that there's certain people that are told they can't come because of their own safety. So it wasn't there. At first I thought that they decided not to come just to quell the protest, you know what I mean? So there wasn't too much negativity around, but then obviously read the statement that there was a serious security threat, and through correspondence. Now we don't know where that's come from. In the Gladys Street, just behind us, I'm sat in the stand. It smells like bonfire night because there's fireworks being let off. There's a lot of Everton fans obviously are gathering there, and it's not particularly like fierce, if you know what I mean. They're just all sort of coming together. There was going to be a sit-in at the end of the game, wasn't there? So I think that from Frank Lampard and the Everton players' point of view, they will see it as a bit of a positive that there won't be as much negativity before kick-off, you know, and surrounding when the players warm up was what there might have been.
Is it in danger of just turning really, really toxic at a time where, you know, as you say, perhaps not as toxic today without the board of directors present, but is there a danger that it's just going to turn toxic at a time when Everton need their fans the most?
Well, exactly. They all need to come together because especially here at Goodison Park, Everton are not particularly impressive. They've lost 4 of the last 5 at home, and Frank Lampard decided he's going to play 4-3-3 at home where they're better with 5 at the back. So you need that positivity. You need a bright start from Frank Lampard's players. It'll be interesting to see what system he goes with, because away from home they can be structured and difficult to break down where there's not as much pressure, so they play the 5 at the back and hit teams on a counter-attack, whereas at home you need players to be braver on the ball, you know, you need players to show more character. So I'll be amazed if it goes 4-3-3 again.
Yeah, okay, well we'll see how that one goes very, very quickly, Perry. tomorrow, North London derby, score prediction? Very quick, because the players are out here at Old Trafford.
Both teams to score. Arsenal to win 2-1. I feel a bit nervous about it because it's one of the few times that Arsenal fans are going to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium actually with confidence, and that doesn't feel good. That doesn't sit right.
Yeah, it doesn't sit right, does it? It's not normal.
No.
Very gross. Great to talk to you. As always, Perry and Ian. Danta will be on commentary for Talksport 2 for Everton against Southampton, while here on Talksport, Adrian Durham will take you around the grounds in the Premier League and the EFL when we are done here at Old Trafford. But the teams are out onto the pitch, and it looks like Marcus Rashford is out as well. Let's hand you back to our commentary team, shall we? Stuart Pearce, but first, Sam Matos.
Well, we all sat here watching Anthony warm up during the half-time break, and we knew that he was coming on. We assumed he was coming on for Marcus Rashford. He isn't. He has replaced Anthony Martial, and Marcus Rashford has come out for the second half. Stuart Pearce, what's your reaction to that?
I'm astounded, to be fair. On the way he went down, Rashford, from the initial injury when I saw the clash with Walker to him collapsing to the turf, I'm astounded that he's still out there. Listen, I hope he's fully fit, but I'm yet to be convinced, if I'm being quite honest with you. And his movements still look to me quite very gingerly moving around across the turf. But for United, it's a big one that he's out there.
It's massive. If he can be as effective as he was in that first half, then they'll be delighted with it. If he's a passenger, that's a problem. Anthony has gone straight down the middle, by the way, to play as the number 9. Not something that he's used to, but he has scored a couple of goals recently for Manchester United, and he scored in that Everton game on last Friday night. And Martial has been taken off as a result of that. So Anthony Martial is off, and Anthony is on, wearing 21. The man signed from Ajax at the beginning of the season for a huge amount of money, nearly 80 million quid, and he is going to hopefully be for Manchester United the threat. I'll go through the 2-11s for you in just a second. Manchester United have red shirts, white shorts and black socks on, and they're attacking the Stretford end, the famous Stretford end away to our left, the two-tiered huge stand away to our left-hand side, the sun peering over the top of it and into the faces of those in the scoreboard end, where Manchester City are attacking in the second half in light blue shirts and white shorts. Bruno Fernandes has it central midfield, forward towards Anthony, who rolls Ake, takes the ball away from him, and the referee blows the whistle, and well, Ake's given the free kick. I think Anthony was a little bit surprised by that.
Yeah, so was I, to be quite honest with you. I thought it was great play by him. Ake going for the ball, but absolutely no chance.
I've just seen it again. I was quite surprised that the whistle was blown. Oh, it might have been for an offside, in which case, fair enough. It is 0-0, and De Gea is the United goalkeeper, with Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Shaw and Malacia the back four. Fred and Casemiro holding. Eriksen is the number 10, with Rashford on the left, Fernandes on the right, and Anthony through the centre now. The change at half-time for Manchester United. Manchester City have Ederson in goal, Walker, Kanji, Ake and Cancelo, then Silva, Rodri and De Bruyne, Mahrez, Haaland and Foden. Haaland hasn't seen too much of the ball at all in the opening half of the game. That doesn't mean he won't be deadly later. Here comes Manchester City over the halfway line, forward at pace with Walker, a square ball into the centre for Bernardo Silva, whose shot takes a deflection, pops up into the arms of David De Gea, who takes a couple of steps wide of his goal towards his right and pulls it into his chest and then dispatches upfield. It's a poor kick out by David De Gea, and Manchester City get it back again. De Bruyne tucks it in field, finds Mahrez. Eriksen, who scored a couple of goals for Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester City, tries to dispossess Mahrez, but the Algerian twirls away towards the right hand side. It goes back in field to Rodri, and Rodri is then pursued by Fernandes. It goes out to the far side, the left. Collected now by Cancelo, who motors down in towards the edge of the penalty area. Cleared away by Wan-Bissaka, who watched that really well. And now Anthony can spring into action, dragging Manchester United up towards the halfway line, inviting challenges, poking the ball over the top. And he's still chasing after it, but Ake's going to get there first. And it goes all the way back to the goalkeeper away to our left-hand side and remains 0-0. Stuart Pearce.
I'll tell you what, I've yet to see Rashford come out of more than a fast-paced walk in this second half. And there was an opportunity there when Anthony received the ball for him to dart in behind. So really Well, the jury's out with me whether he's fit at this moment in time.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it, but we shall see how it pans out over the next 10 minutes or so. 49 on the clock now, 0-0. Last year here at Old Trafford was a very different season. Aston Villa, Everton, Southampton, West Ham, Wolves and Middlesbrough all either drew or won at Old Trafford. It feels like you have to be very good now to escape here with something. Arsenal, Tottenham and Liverpool have already found that out. Manchester City are finding it out too. It's been a long time since they lost in the Premier League here now. Manchester United, and they are determined to hold on to it. Rashford can't get back at Mahrez, who's breaking down the right-hand side, and he's jinxing past Fred. Fred's had to cover for him. Eriksen taps it forward. Anthony wasn't alert for that, so Akanji steps in and wins it back for Manchester City. And it's played out to Ake. Over on the far side is Cancelo, takes over for the away team. A little slither of sunshine in front of the Alex Ferguson stand is where Cancelo is operating. Rodri comes across to join, and their far side on the City left. Pep Guardiola still in his technical area, hands rammed into his pockets. He is shouting instructions. So is Erik ten Hag, who is not happy either. He's having a word with Fred, working to try and get messages on to Anthony as Haaland drops deep to pick the ball up. He plays it back to Ake. Oh, that's a bit of a stretch from Rodri. Almost gave it away, but Rashford couldn't react, and then it's cleared away on this near side, and it's picked up by Mahrez. Mahrez into Haaland, who's just right of the centre of the Manchester United half. But Manchester United tactically without the ball have been very good so far, haven't they? They've just shut every door on Manchester City.
Yeah, they have, and I think Manchester City need to mix it up a little bit. There may be the odd ball forward that in behind the back line just to pull United's back line. At the moment they're quite safe, knowing full well everything's in front of them.
Anthony trying to get round the back of Ake, who did well initially. Anthony held on to it, felt he was fouled over on the far side. Stuart Atwell eventually gives the free kick. He gave himself a bit of thinking time, and then it's cleared away. It's going to be a free kick to Manchester United over on that far touchline.
Yeah, I've lost count in modern day football whether it's a free kick or not. It seems to the one that gets to the ground first gets the free kick these days.
Malacia has just received instruction from Erik ten Hag.
And there's a bit of contact, enough to say, OK, I'll give you tolerance, I won't fight you on this one. Well, no, I've looked at it again and...
You've changed your mind 3 times.
I've changed my mind again. No chance, never been a free kick.
It is going to be a free kick for Manchester United over on the far touchline. 52 gone. You're listening to Talksport. Sam Matterface and Stuart Pearce at Old Trafford. Remember, over on Talksport 2, Rotherham 1, Blackburn 0 is live on Talksport 2 right now. Get our app. Here we're concentrating on the Manchester derby. Here's Varane into the penalty area from the free kick into the box, and a goal kick is given. Nothing more than that. There was a push in the back there on Marcus Rashford. Stuart Atwell just sort of indicated initially that he was pointing towards it. Some of the United fans thought he was pointing to the penalty spot. There was an offside flag up, I think, actually, and it was never going to be given.
No, as I say, Rashford went down there, I think, looking for a foul. I don't think there was enough in it for that. And Casemiro coming in behind him had the opportunity.
Offside, Varane, by a mile, and it would have negated anything else that happened during that phase of play as a result of it. It was a little bit sloppy for Varane actually to stay in that offside position when that free kick was taken, but Eriksen did sort of rush it at the last minute, which maybe caught Varane off guard.
What's your thoughts on Phil Foden today?
I was interested to hear him talk yesterday. I was listening to Talksport and I heard him say how important it was to him. I haven't seen much of him so far. He's only been in the game, but he might do now as De Bruyne comes into the penalty area, delivers the ball towards the back post. It's headed by Bernardo Silva, drops inside the area. Foden picks it up. He's trying to get it under control, goes down under a little bit of pressure, looks at the referee who waves away the protest for a penalty, and Manchester United look to break at the other end. Walker with a back pass in towards Ederson. Rashford chases it down. He's not going to get there, and it's cleared away. But was there any chance of Phil Foden winning a penalty over on the far side?
Not for me. I don't think there was enough in it. The thing that surprised me, brilliant play by the way with Mahrez and De Bruyne to set up the opportunity, but when it come in, Haaland's pulled away to the penalty spot to receive a cutback. I think he'd have been better suited going in and trying getting on the end with his head.
Well, it might not be the most entertaining Manchester derby you'll ever see, but it certainly has got intrigue about it. It's finely poised. It's a bit of a chess match, actually. Erik ten Hag making sure that Manchester City really have to work if they want to carve open an opportunity. Pep Guardiola now ready to rearrange the pieces on the board, because Jack Grealish is getting stripped and ready for action. Ball cleared by Ederson, high into the afternoon sky, headed on by Cancelo, controlled by Bernardo Silva. He's accused of handball. Foden wants it played in between the centre-back and the right full-back. It wasn't forthcoming, but Cancelo has travelled with the ball well. And then De Bruyne, trying to play it to Mahrez, sees his attempted pass intercepted by Tyrell Malacia, and it's out for a throw halfway inside Manchester United's territory.
Got to say, magnificent cut out there by Malacia. Good left-back play. Give himself a really good position, starting position, to cut out anything that was played inside him, but also as well got his positional play right for anything outside him to cut it out.
The last derby match between these two was the highest scoring Manchester derby of all time. No goals so far in this one. There were 5 goals in the second half of that game, but no team now concedes less goals in the second half of matches than Manchester United. Here is Mahrez, back towards the centre circle, collected by Rodri, swirled out to the far side, chested down by Bernardo Silva. Infield it goes to Foden. Foden round the corner onto the left back. Cancelo skips past Fernandes, gets into a crossing position, goes for the legs of Casemiro, into the box, traced by Casemiro, goes down under pressure from Casemiro. He's told to get back up again. That looked a little bit clumsy, that actually, from Casemiro.
It did first time out, there's no doubt.
Eriksen swishes the ball forward. Rashford can't get there. Across comes Walker, steps out over the halfway line. A back heel into Mahrez, and then it's all the way back to Akanji. It remains goalless on Talksport, but Rotherham have gone 2-0 in front in the Championship over on Talksport 2. Here is Riyad Mahrez out to the right. Walker with a low ball through the 6-yard area, watched by Luke Shaw, out for a corner.
I'll tell you what, Sam, from what I've seen since half-time, I think United have run out of gas. They think their work's done in the first half. At this moment in time, City are getting stronger and stronger and stronger in this game.
Might get stronger and stronger because they're about to take off Phil Foden and bring on Jack Grealish. And as Stuart Pearce, the former Manchester City manager, highlighted just moments ago, there hasn't been much from Phil Foden in this game. The kid from Stockport, who is desperate to make an impression in a derby after scoring a hat-trick in the previous derby between the two. Maybe he wasn't quite right. He's just having a word with the bench on this near touchline as this corner is prepared to be taken by Mahrez. Short to De Bruyne in front of the scoreboard end. Back to Mahrez. Anthony didn't follow him. The cross is deep. It's too high to the far post, but kept in by Akanji, who did brilliantly. Back towards Ake, away by Casemiro. Then Shaw manages to dig it out. Anthony, not another purposeful touch. Doesn't get it clear. And it's back with Manchester City, who sent something here. They're starting to build as we get towards the hour mark on Talksport. The ball played out to the left, and Bernardo Silva takes it now. Travelling down the left touchline. Out to the left, and Jack Grealish, the first touch for him. He cuts infield on his right foot, looks for an opening, finds Rodri, who swishes the ball out towards the near touchline. Taken on the thigh by Mahrez. Malacia tries to close him down, and Manchester United just about managed to get it away. And then Fernandes is late on Mahrez, and Stuart Atwell's going to take action just to try and cool the temperature.
Yeah, as I say, City are the ones that have upped the tempo slightly here. United are looking a little bit leggy at the moment. One or two of their players not tracking back, not doing their jobs as well as they possibly can do. But still not any clear efforts at goal.
Well, this is Pep Guardiola's 500th top-flight game. He's won 379 of his previous 499, which is a win ratio of 76%. I mean, it is the biggest ratio of victories of any manager that's taken charge of 100 games or more in Europe's top 5 leagues. So he usually finds a way to get his team to get 3 points. Here is Cancelo out towards the right side, looking for Mahrez. Backing off is Malacia, into Walker, who's joined the attack. Right side, they're inside the United half of the field here. Back to Rodri, who sends it long out towards Grealish. Grealish Back to Cancelo. Grealish felt he was fouled by Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but Cancelo has wriggled away from Anthony. Moved towards the edge of the box. It's blocked by a combination of Casemiro and Eriksen, and now Rashford trying to test his pace against Akanji. Couldn't get hold of the ball. Heavy touch, and across came first Rodri, then Ake, and they move up towards the halfway point of the Manchester United half before a crunching tackle from behind by Fernandes fells Grealish, and it's going to be a free kick. A good 20 yards inside United territory, 0-0.
I think United are just losing their shape a little bit here, and too many players are facing their own goal when the ball goes beyond them, and that's dangerous signs.
Eriksen, Fred, guilty parties as Mahrez comes down the right into Walker. Walker into the box, gets a decent cross in. Fred makes the tackle. Walker throws himself to the ground, wants a penalty kick. He's not going to get one. De Bruyne back to Ake, just on the cusp of the centre circle, into Rodri now. Casemiro's got to be alert, got to keep an eye. Fernandes has lost a bit of puff. It's gone into Mahrez, into De Bruyne. He's escaped Casemiro, delivered across. Coming in is Grealish, and he's scored in a Manchester derby for Manchester City to put them in front of the scoreboard end. And United's defence, that has been rock solid since the World Cup, has been carved open by Manchester City's substitute, Jack Grealish. Manchester United 0, Manchester City 1.
Well, the warning signs are there. We're 15 minutes in, and to be honest with you, Manchester City have dominated this second half of the game, and they're the team. United look as though their work was done in the first half. Fred lost De Bruyne for one of the first times in the game, and that is the problem that he'll cause you. Brilliant play by De Bruyne, brilliant cross, put it on an absolute plate for Grealish, and City have got their tails up now. And I'm still not convinced about Rashford's fitness, you know. I'm really not. He's not chasing things with the vigour that he certainly did in the first half.
Jack Grealish, who once scored here for Aston Villa in a 2-2 draw in December 2019, nets for Manchester City. A header inside the 6-yard box, leaping high into the air to dab it into an empty net, vacated by De Gea, who'd gone towards his near post. And Kevin De Bruyne, who was on his worst run in 4 years without an assist, has one now. And Manchester City lead. And how will United respond? Because it's very difficult, because their MO from the first half is not available to them because Rashford ain't fit.
Well, that's certainly the way it's looking. That threat in behind isn't there as much.
Manchester City supporters sing "We Shall Not Be Moved." Manchester United and their former manager Alex Ferguson, Sir Alex Ferguson is sitting in the director's box with his black cap on today, look a little bit rattled at the start of this second half. Anthony Martial was withdrawn, replaced by Anthony, but it was Marcus Rashford who everyone was concerned about, and he's had little or no contribution in the second half of this game. And it is now 17 minutes old. He comes over towards the near side to try and put pressure on Walker in the right back position, tries to get it clear. It's into the air by Casemiro, flicked on by Eriksen, and then Anthony tries to help it forward to Fernandes. He's beaten in the air by Akanji. The ball drops in the centre circle. It remains 1-0 to Manchester City, and De Bruyne is escaping now, and he's got Haaland to his left. Interception comes from Varane. Manchester United have got to be very careful not to lose their shape. Fernandes has gone through the middle, and Anthony's gone out to the right-hand side. He's sent across towards Rashford, but Walker was alert to it and heads it back to Ederson, away to our left-hand side. 4 attempts on goal for each team so far. 1 attempt on target for Manchester City, 2 for United, and that attempt on target by Manchester City is the one that has made it Manchester United 0, City 1.
Yeah, they've come out with more vigour about their game, City, in this second half. Walker's surging on, he's playing the other side of Rashford in possession and making an overload on this right-hand side. And just going back to that cross from De Bruyne, fantastic. Honestly, he just sat it up with an open invitation written on the ball. Pop that in the net for us, will you?
Yeah, created 2 of the 3 goals that Haaland scored at the Etihad when these two met in October. He is the scourge of Manchester United.
It's a scourge of world football, I think you'll find.
Scourge of everybody, as long as you're not a Manchester City fan or a Belgium fan. Here is Jack Grealish, the goal scorer, over on the far side. The rivalry absolutely huge. It's not lost on anybody that Manchester United have not finished above Manchester City in the Premier League since Fergie retired in 2013. Something they are keen to change, but City clearly are not. Families have reds and blues, friendship groups have reds and blues. Today the WhatsApp groups are pinging with songs about Rashford and Foden and Mahrez and De Bruyne. Rival taunts. One of those phones will be turned off after the game if it stays like this. It's a yellow card for Christian Eriksen for a cynical foul on Jack Grealish, and it's a free kick to Manchester City. Currently Manchester United 0, City 1. The latest odds from Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Manchester United to come back, win the game at 25-1, City to win the game at 6-1 on. The draw is 9-2. And it's all thanks to Betfair 18+, begambleaware.org. Almost Malacia sprung Fernandes, didn't work out, and City come forward. It's cleared by Cancelo, but chested down and away by Casemiro. A little flick by Anthony takes him away from Bernardo Silva. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is helping the attack, but the ball into him was too long, and Rodri mopped up, and it's all the way back to the goalkeeper, away to our left. Ederson, the Brazilian.
I'll tell you what, Sam, this has come down to the physical attributes of Manchester City now are looking that much better. All of a sudden, people like Eriksen, Casemiro, Fernandes, they're looking a little bit leggy there and can't deal with situations.
So in which case, if you are Erik ten Hag, do you start to glance to your bench and call for a Lisandro Martinez or maybe a Scott McTominay, maybe a Alejandro Garnacho, just to give you some extra fresh legs on the field of play?
Well, I think the game's going away from them, and I think it went away from United from the moment that Rashford went down with his groin problem in the first half, because their threat in behind Manchester City is not there anymore.
1-0, Jack Grealish with his second goal of the season. I've commentated on both his goals this season for Manchester City. One was it wasn't similar in terms of the way it looked, but it's definitely similar in the way it was constructed. A ball flashed across the face of the area and he beat Haaland to it at Wolverhampton Wanderers. And similarly here, ball across the face of the area, this time higher, and he headed it ahead of Haaland into the net to make it 1-0 to Manchester City. Good feet by Casemiro, trying to nudge it forward. Wan-Bissaka's got it now and goes out towards the far side. And diving in was Rodri, and Wan-Bissaka got away from him, and that might just lift the United crowd a little bit as it goes back to Shaw and then on to Malacia. Left side, threatened to cross, then gave it to Rashford. Rashford trying to take on Walker now. Plays it back to Fernandes. Fernandes infield to Fred. Fred opens up, threatened to shoot, didn't. Wan-Bissaka, he might shoot. Low ball into the near post, takes the deflection, goes behind. It's a corner for Manchester United.
Yeah, it's probably the first time in this half that United have redressed the balance a little bit of play. Managed to force City into a corner. And they'll need something. They'll need to get something out of the game, because at the moment I'm not seeing a build-up of pressure from United in their play.
Only the second corner of the game for Manchester United to be taken out over on that far side by Christian Eriksen, the Danish midfield player and the man who's been their most creative hub over the course of the season. 5 assists already for him this campaign. He raises his left arm into the air, right-footed, he sends it short to Luke Shaw. Shaw left-footed cross in towards the near post, headed away by Haaland, and it turns out to be a bit of a waste. Back it goes from Wan-Bissaka. He's asking a hell of a lot of Eriksen to keep that in. Eriksen almost did.
Yeah, good ball there. Eriksen in absolute acres of space if he was onside, but the ball's just overhit.
And Eriksen scrambling down towards that corner flag, couldn't quite keep it in the perimeter of the playing surface. And Erik ten Hag sitting in his dugout now, looks a little bit perturbed. He's chewing over what to do next. Shall he make a change? Not too many Manchester United substitutes warming up away to our left-hand side. They all look like City ones. I mean, oh no, they are a couple of Manchester United players out there, but they all wear the same tracksuit bottoms, or very similar tracksuit bottoms. Manchester United's training gear is blue, which is weird. Rashford trying to get on the end of a ball which is played to him by Eriksen. He's frustrated he can't reach it. And he has been frustrating in this second half. Remember, 6 o'clock on Monday morning, Laura Woods is back on breakfast with Rangers legend Ali McCoist. Lee Dixon, the Arsenal legend, is on the show. He'll look back on the North London derby. René Moulenstein, the former Manchester United assistant manager, will talk about this game. You can listen on air via your smart speaker. Download the free Talksport app, listen while you commute, or if you're in bed at 6 o'clock in the morning, you can just roll over. If you've got an Alexa or a Google smart speaker in your bedroom, just say, play Talksport. Here is Grealish on the left-hand side, trying to skate past Fred. Fred just got a little nudge on the ball to divert it out and towards the far touchline. And then the tackle comes in from Wan-Bissaka, and it goes out of play and away for a throw midway between the edge of the penalty area and the byline, and for a Manchester City throw.
Yeah, the pitch is looking a little bit big now for a couple of these Manchester United players. I think they've lost what they've done well in the first half, basically. They nullified De Bruyne.
Oh dear. Wan-Bissaka almost got caught on the edge of his own penalty area by De Bruyne. And he was a little bit fortunate there, Wan-Bissaka, that the ball popped up into the air and went back towards De Gea rather than was able to be controlled by the Belgian.
You know, what made Manchester United a good side in the first half was Fred and Casemiro nullifying the threat of Manchester City in that area of the pitch, and turning it over and playing good balls in behind for good runs. In this second half, they've not nullified the threat, and they've not turned and played balls in behind, and they've not run in behind. And all of those things have come crashing down to get in a situation now where they're 1-0 down.
Well, I'm going to tell you that Alejandro Garnacho is coming on. Tell me who's coming off.
If you're going to tell me it's not Rashford, I'm absolutely astounded.
Christian Eriksen is coming off in the next few minutes, and Alejandro Garnacho is going to come on. Another change for Manchester United, another one that raises an eyebrow or two. Here is Bernardo Silva travelling in from the far touchline into the midpoint of the United half. Then Rodri takes over, twirls away from Eriksen. It goes out to the left, and Grealish infield to Cancelo back to the left. Manchester City have just upped the tempo, the intensity in this second half, and Manchester United have not been able to stick with them. And that's why they lead by 1-0 with 20 minutes remaining on Talksport. Remember KSI against FaZe Temple a little bit later on, the boxing tonight with Jim White. And we've got more live football for you on Talksport 2 from 3 o'clock this afternoon. Frank Lampard fighting for survival with Everton, and Southampton, who have had a terrible run in the league at least, but knocked out Manchester City in midweek from the Carabao Cup. Those two clashing at Goodison Park from 3 o'clock this afternoon with Ian Danter and Perry Groves. We'll bring you team news very shortly from the 3 o'clock kickoffs. But the substitution takes place first of all, and Alejandro Garnacho is coming on, and Luke Shaw is just getting some instructions from Erik ten Hag. What will he be saying?
In all honesty, I don't really know what he'll be saying to Luke Shaw at this stage. I mean, I don't think the instruction comes to him. It might be to somebody else. More importantly, to Fred, and make sure. I think De Bruyne is getting more and more influential in this game as the half goes on, and they're going to have to stop him if they're going to stop this flow that is sky blue.
He appears to have something about him a bit between the teeth today, doesn't he, Kevin De Bruyne? Here is Rodri, back to Bernardo Silva in the centre circle. It's given away by him. Wan-Bissaka takes it over, moves it out towards the wide right. Anthony. Garnacho's gone down the left. Rashford through the middle. And Anthony has gone towards the right. It means that the Christian Eriksen position is being occupied now by Bruno Fernandes, the number 10 position behind Rashford, who has gone as the central striker for the first time today. Let's go off to the Amex Stadium in Brighton. Team news comes for their game against Liverpool from Talksport's Alex Crook.
And the big news is that Cody Gakpo has had his Premier League debut with Darwin Núñez unavailable due to injury. Brighton's Alexis McAllister makes his first league start since winning the World Cup. One-to-way Leandro Trossard, as expected, not in the squad.
And Crook, who's been listening to his radio intently at the Manchester derby, because he is desperate to see his beloved Manchester United come away with something from these games, getting a little bit frustrated. I've noticed the WhatsApp has been pinging on my wrist whilst the game has been going on. And what's the situation at the City Ground? Big East Midlands derby for Jeff Peters.
Well, Forest make one change from the midweek cup win. Bolly is out injured, so McKenna comes in. Scarpa continues behind the front two as Awonye is still missing. Injury ravaged Leicester now without Iosi Perez. Daka is benched. Vardy and Mendy come into the side.
Off to Molineux, Adam Bridge.
Wolves had a first start to Mateus Cunha, one of 5 changes from the midweek defeat to Forest. Collins, Neves, Prudence and Bueno also come in. New signing Lamina is amongst the subs. Craig Dawson, who's set to join Wolves, is absent for West Ham. In comes Soufal, Cresswell and Fornals from the win over Brentford. Zuma returns, but is only fit enough for the bench.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka has it for Manchester United, who trail by a goal to nil in the Manchester derby here at Old Trafford. Fernandes pings the ball from right to left and finds Garnacho. Garnacho back towards the edge of the area. Malacia with a cross into the box. It's behind everybody in red and headed further clear by Cancelo. De Bruyne dispossessed by Luke Shaw. Pep Guardiola goes into a rage. Malacia runs through a gap, pokes it left. Garnacho takes over, moves towards the edge of the penalty area. Shaw with a chance to cross, delivers it to the far post. Casemiro coming in underneath it, away by Cancelo. Bumped on the edge of the box is De Bruyne, and Fred gets there first, and Manchester United have got something about them again now. Off to the game involving Everton and Southampton. It's live on Talksport 2. Ian Danter has been allowed in.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin starts in place of Neil Maupay, Everton's only change from their 3-1 defeat at Old Trafford in the FA Cup. 3 changes for Southampton after that brilliant win against Man City. All up front, out go Djenepo, Mara and Armstrong. In come El Yunusi, Adams and Edozie. And Carlos Alcaraz is amongst the Saints substitutes.
Yeah, and Ian and Perry Groves will bring you live commentary on Talksport 2 a little bit later on. No board members from Everton are going to that game because of a security threat, but they will bring you all the action. And what a big game that is. Free kick to Manchester City, centre circle, played out wide towards the left and Grealish, but again Wan-Bissaka's got there and poked it out of play off Grealish, and it's a throw-in to Manchester United.
The one thing that will give United something to hang on to is the fact that City won't sit back. They won't shut up shop. Walker won't sit back. Cancelo won't sit back. They keep going forward, and that leaves the odd hole every now and then in their back line, which could cause them a problem.
Grealish trying to trick his way down into the left corner. He was surrounded by 4 red shirts there, and there was no one in support of him. He goes out for a throw eventually. It's Manchester United 0, City 1 on Talksport with Now Sports. And don't forget, with Now Sports, you can stream the Sky Sports action like Brentford-Bournemouth today for $11.99. It's all live, no contract. Search Now Sports. Throw-in taken down the left. Tossed in towards Bernardo Silva. That smidgen of sunshine on the far side has got smaller. Fred has spotted the run of Garnacho, and now Rashford is firing away on the right hand side. He's been dragged back by Rodri, but he's free inside the area. That should have been a free kick. Garnacho's trying to keep going. Walker is there. He's pulled back by Akanji. Akanji pulled him back, and Rodri and Rashford are still pushing and pulling inside the centre. Now on the left hand side, Garnacho tried to get round Akanji, looked to have pulled him down, but prior to that, in the middle, off the ball, Rodri was manhandling Marcus Rashford. That should have been a free kick.
Yeah, he got the run on him. The linesman there is looking right across the line. He should tip the referee off. The referee can't see that. He's got his eyes on the ball, but as you say, he's pulled him back, he's impeded the run, and it should have been pulled back for a free kick right on the edge of the box there.
That is a yellow card and a free kick all day long. That should have been penalised. Rodri has massively got away with that, and Manchester City have got away with it too. And it goes out eventually for a goal kick. Scott McTominay about to come on in midfield just to again add more legs. Martinez coming into the team as well to add something different for Manchester United. They're not settling for a defeat here. They need and want to drag themselves back into this game. It's Manchester United. They're not going to settle for a defeat against Manchester City. But, you know, over the course of the season, Manchester City have been stronger and obviously have dominated the landscape in terms of this footballing city for almost 10 years. But Manchester United feel as if they've started to get better and more consistent, and they want to show that. They want to display those talents. They want to give Manchester City a warning that they're coming back again. Here's Rashford in behind, beyond the Kanji, comes to Bruno Fernandes, who takes over, and the offside flag goes up. And his goal, which he thinks has rescued a point, is ruled out. Rashford says, I didn't touch it. It ran all the way through to Fernandes. Darren Cann is being surrounded, the assistant on the far side. United are appealing for it to be looked at by VAR. They think they've equalised, and Stuart Atwell is involved in the delay.
This will be interesting because there's no doubt that Rashford did not touch the ball, but he's chased the ball. He was right on top of the ball when Fernandez has put it in the back of the net. So,
does he impede an opposition player from playing the ball?
Well, that is the question. The answer to that question is no.
Fernandez has just gone over towards the Stretford end, acting like a cheerleader. He's trying to raise the temperature. Looking at the replay, I don't think Rashford was involved in that. I think this should be a goal. And there it is! The equaliser for Manchester United! Bruno Fernandes takes the acclaim! Manchester United equalise! It's 1-1 in the 188th Manchester derby! A huge delay, a huge check, a massive moment in the season. Bruno Fernandes was adamant that Rashford hadn't touched the ball and that he was onside, and now the officials agree. It's United 1, City 1.
Well, listen, you try and get your head around the laws of the game this day and age. He definitely did not touch the ball, but he's chased the ball with an intent to get a finish away until Fernandes said, get out of the way, I'm going to take this. So it's a real difficult one, a real strange one, but listen, that's the nature of the laws of the game. City probably only got themselves to blame there, being a little bit loose at the back. As we said earlier, they will throw players forward even when they're winning.
Well, listen to the response of the Manchester United supporters. It's gone silent in the corner away to our right. The roof is going to come off Old Trafford, I think. Everyone away to our left in the Stretford end is standing on their feet, even those right at the very back. The noise is deafening, and Manchester City have been quietened. United the better team in the first half, City the better team in the second half. Both the goals have come after half-time. It's 1-1.
Yeah, and as I say, there's no doubt after the game Pep will be bemoaning the offside law when I'm not sure what's right and what isn't. You know, there's no doubt Rashford's chased the ball in an intent to get on the end of the ball, even from an offside position, but he didn't touch it, and if that's the laws of the game, so be it.
Talksport. The ball comes into De Bruyne. De Bruyne out towards the right-hand side. It's picked up by Walker. Walker with a cross into the box, away by Casemiro. And then it's headed out towards this near side. Walker heads it back in again towards the Manchester United penalty area. Malacia manages to clear it up towards halfway. Rashford doesn't get on the end of it, but Fred does. And there is a threat in behind again here because Garnacho is onside and he's played in down the left and he's speeding away into the left wing position. He's got three to aim at in the centre. Garnacho tries to tee it up into the box. It hits Akanji first time. He twirls away from Ake. It's towards the near post. Rashford pokes it home and Manchester United have turned it around. United lead 2-1. Garnacho into Rashford, who puts it through the legs of Ederson and into the net. He is in the form of his life right now. Confidence coursing through his veins. His 8th goal in 7 games since the restart, and all his troubles are forgotten. And all those injury worries are forgotten. Manchester United lead by 2 goals to 1. A magnificent reversal of fortunes at Old Trafford for the home team, and Pep Guardiola is stunned.
An absolute incredible turnaround in this derby match. City fans absolutely stunned, victims of their own success potentially. City pushing players forward, being really loose at the back, and all of a sudden that counter-attack threat was back on once again. And 3-on-2 overload. City didn't recover to shape, still a bit loose. And Akanji didn't recover to deal with Rashford. 2-1 United.
That groin's a real problem for that Rashford fellow, isn't it?
Well, he's done exactly what you should have done with your shoulder. Run it off by the looks of it.
What a fabulous football match. Erik ten Hag went dancing down the touchline. I mean, this is a guy who doesn't really show that much emotion, Erik ten Hag. but he loved that. He absolutely loved that. And Manchester United lead with 7 minutes to go in the derby.
Well, this is incredible. I thought we were about 15 minutes into the second half. It's unbelievable. This half has flown by, and the game's set up for a counter again.
Oh, and Garnacho almost escaped in behind Walker once again. What a brilliant match we've had. And Manchester City, like you said, really have only really got themselves to blame here, because that threat in behind has been the case all day. We've known about it all day. We've been saying it since minute one. So they were aware of it, they didn't guard against it, and they've conceded a goal which is going to cost them points here. Huge points in the title race. I imagine Mikel Arteta, preparing for the North London derby tomorrow, has got a huge smile on his face.
Well, we spoke before the game that whatever result comes from here, it just might benefit Arsenal tomorrow potentially if they can do their work.
Listen to this. This is what a derby sounds like, and this is what it means to the Manchester United fans inside this stadium. They will feel for too long Manchester City have dominated the football in this city. They have taken their mantle. But Manchester United, who were absolutely torn apart at the Etihad earlier in the season, have come roaring back into form. Yes, this will be win number 10 in a row at home for Erik ten Hag. And yes, they have beaten one of the big boys now. This isn't Burnley, this isn't Charlton, it's not Everton, it's City. There's still time yet for an equaliser though. Here's Cancelo, edge of the area, onto Rodri, De Bruyne into the centre. Haaland trying to get hold of it, goes down, looks at the referee, who says nothing. Back it comes into midfield. Ake has it now. Well, Pep Guardiola is jigging a dance like Michael Flatley in Riverdance on the touchline, suggesting that he was clipped. They're checking it for VAR. The ball is away down the right-hand side. You're listening to Talksport. It's Manchester United 2, City 1 on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today. Ball into the box towards Haaland once again. Over the bar it goes, and it's out for a goal kick. Stuart Atwell is waving away the protest from Rodri for a penalty. Fred is asking for some sort of semblance of clarification. And now there's going to be a goal kick away to our right, and Stuart Atwell is encouraging the Manchester United goalkeeper to take it, and take it quick.
Yeah, just having a little look at that replay. Haaland's gone to have a swing, and basically Casemiro's got there, put his foot in front of Haaland's, and Haaland's kicked the back, just taking his leg away potentially, but I think no, not enough there for a penalty for me.
No. I mean, Pep Guardiola was indicating that he was kicked by Casemiro. I'm afraid, Pep, it was the other way round. It certainly wasn't a penalty. Manchester United 2, Manchester City 1. A game that has ebbed and flowed, burst into life the later it has gone on. It's been terrific, terrific entertainment, live and only on Talksport. Grealish takes it over halfway, and Casemiro has a swipe at him and doesn't connect. Fred then decides he will have a bit of a closer go at him, and he does. Yellow card for Fred.
Yeah, and Casemiro is in the centre circle. I think he's done himself a mischief, or alternatively he's trying to run the clock down and break the game up.
I'm going to go with your latter assertion.
Yes.
He's saying he needs attention though, so I do hope that there's nothing more to it than just a brief injury. But Anthony is calling for attention, wanting the physio to come on. Fred has got a yellow card for that challenge. Well, what will this mean for Manchester United? Does it mean they're in the title race?
I think it's 3 points, and as we said before the game, you know, what are your credentials like? Are you on a resurgence? And they've had, well, 5 brilliant minutes where they've put a couple of goals in. For all intents and purposes, up to that stage it looked as though City were going to go on and win the game, but I think City just going forward time and time again, leaving too many gaps at the back, and maybe a little bit of game intelligence to break the game up, but that's the nature of City. They keep coming forward.
Yep, Arsenal away next for Manchester United. Crystal Palace at home, live on Talksport on February the 4th. Leeds United away after that. Barcelona live on Talksport in the Europa League. Leicester at home, Barcelona at home, and then Brentford at home. They're their next 7 fixtures. It is a month which will tell us a lot more about Manchester United. It is a month that may define the Premier League season. Arsenal have got a big month too. Manchester City as well. They have a free kick midway inside United territory. We're in the final minute of the game. There's still a few minutes to go in terms of Manchester United having to hold on here right at the end. De Bruyne standing over the free kick. Mahrez leaves it for De Bruyne. It's slipped down the right for Walker. And Garnacho's got across. It goes back to De Bruyne. De Bruyne trying to get across him. Blocked by Anthony. It repels out towards the near side. Walker delivers it into the near post. Fernandes is there and hits it away. It goes out for a throw-in down by the corner flag. 89 minutes and 40 seconds. Manchester United lead by 2-1. McTominay and Martinez are coming off the bench here to try and stiffen things up. They were going to do that before the 2 goals went in. Remember that? Remember when Manchester City were leading? It all happened in such a blur. The ball in towards the near post. Shaw away. Back to the edge of the box, and Garnacho hoists it into the afternoon sky. It's forward by Akanji. Flicked on by Riyad Mahrez. Manchester United's magnificent home form is continuing here. 5 minutes of added time at the end of the 90. And we're just straying into that now. Haaland trying to get hold of the ball but can't. Malacia and Shaw get there first. It's hit up towards the halfway line. Akanji away. Rodri keeps hold of it. Manchester City will be patient. They will try and pick their moment. They know that they've got the quality to unpick this defence. They know that they've got weapons that can cause serious destruction. This is Mahrez, one of those, on the right, into Walker. Is there a late twist in this game? Another late twist in this brilliant game. Picked up by Fred, in towards Rashford, back to Fred, and now it's 3-on-2 in Manchester United's favour. Anthony running at Cancelo. He's got Garnacho at the far post. Rashford's taken it on. Rashford onto his left foot. Back to Garnacho left side. He cuts in, then tries to shoot. Takes a deflection, looks to get it back again, and Rodri manages to bring it clear and up towards the halfway line. Casemiro, who's made a miraculous recovery, plays it back out towards the near side. Malacia onto Garnacho. And Manchester United could have killed the game there, Stuart.
Yeah, they could have done. As I say, they've got 3 subs here, all very defence-minded, looking to come on. Maguire being one of them, Martinez another, and they'll just be happy to soak up any pressure that they possibly can.
Malacia off, Lisandro Martinez on. Off comes Marcus Rashford for Harry Maguire. Off comes Casemiro for Scott McTominay. A triple change in added time for Manchester United. A standing ovation for Marcus Rashford, who has scored in each of the last 9 home games at Old Trafford, and may have just scored the winning goal in a Manchester derby. It's the first time in 7 appearances against Manchester City that he's scored. It could be a crucial goal. Malacia goes over to Martinez, says, come on, there's just a few minutes to go. The Manchester City players look a little bit stunned, actually, Stuart. I don't think they can believe how quickly this game turned, because it was in the palm of their hand.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. They look as though they were the side that were going to go over the line, win the game, and all of a sudden they've been shaken to the core with those two quick goals.
Remember, you'll be able to discuss it all a little bit later on the phone in with Jason Cundy and Gabby Agbon-Lahore from 5:30 this afternoon. All of the Manchester derby fallout will be on the breakfast show on Monday with Laura Woods and Ali McCoist as well. But we've got a lot more football to play between now and then, and Adrian Durham will take you around the grounds at 2:30 with all the goals as they go in on a massive day in the Premier League. And we've got a massive match on Talksport 2, Everton-Southampton, starting at 3 o'clock this afternoon. But there's still a way to go here. We're into the 4th minute of added time at the end of the 90. Akanji picks it up, sends it into the box. It's headed away by Rafael Varane. and cleared further up to the halfway line. Stuart.
City are chasing the game now, and they've hardly got anyone on the front line. You know, we look across the pitch here, there's 6 City players sort of behind the ball. They need to get someone in the front line, get an overload.
Ball is on the left. It's in by Grealish towards the far post, and Haaland was going to get there before Luke Shaw stepped in and did his job as the left centre half. He's gone back out to left fullback now that Martinez has come on, but he was covering back in field again there, and it was brilliant covering from Luke Shaw.
You're right there. Magnificent positional play.
Here is Bernardo Silva, tackled from behind by Wan-Bissaka. It goes into Rodri. This is Talksport. We're in the 49th, now 50th minute of the game in this second half. We've played all of our injury time, or we're playing up to playing our injury time, and United are holding on against Manchester City. 2-1 the score. Walker, no-look pass into Bernardo Silva, doesn't come off. One back by De Bruyne, picked off by Luke Shaw. Fred's picked it up again. A chance to counter-attack once more for Manchester United. Fernandes forward, Garnacho into Fred, but it was a bit loose, and it's picked off by Rodri and taken into centre field. This Manchester United team look together. They look like a team, even though tonight there have been a few new faces that have had to try and deliver a different result. No Dalot today. They've had to get over injuries. No Wout Weghorst yet for them, but he's going to add to their squad. But they've got to hang on here. In towards Haaland, the ball goes from Bernardo Silva out on the halfway line. The ball is headed by Maguire this time. Comes back to De Bruyne. It's head tennis on the edge of the United box. They can't get it clear, but Manchester City can't find a way through. Grealish might be able to do that. It scoots past Martinez. De Gea's going to drop on the ball, and everybody's going to look at their watches again, because we played 50 minutes and 12 seconds. And Manchester United are happy to run the clock down. Jack Grealish getting frustrated, goes over and confronts Harry Maguire. Marcus Rashford stands on the side of the pitch and is applauding, because he knows that United are moments away from a famous derby victory. Humiliated at the Etihad, but it's City that were going to be humbled at Old Trafford. A huge attendance at Old Trafford to witness it. Every seat taken. All 3 Manchester United substitutes, Casemiro, Malacia and Rashford, have just come off, are waiting for the whistle. They have to wait no longer. For tonight at least, Manchester is simply red again. The new order has been defeated, and the old guard are back in charge. Manchester United haven't won a trophy in nearly 6 years, but are the only team in England to still have the possibility of a quadruple, and City's chances of even retaining their title are looking slimmer and slimmer by the match. Erik ten Hag has transformed this place. It is an impenetrable fortress again. 10 home wins in a row. United move to within 6 points of Arsenal, who they play next, and within 1 of Manchester City. It's finished remarkably in an amazing, twisting, turning Manchester derby. Manchester United 2, Manchester City 1.